Picture a man in your life that used to be unstoppable. Maybe that's a family member or a friend. Got him? Here's the twist. You didn't pick him because he changed. You picked him because it reminds you of something about yourself that has changed. It's funny how our psychological side of things works. And if that's you, and then maybe that stings a little bit, stick around. Welcome back. If you're here, you're somebody who wants to think sharper. You're somebody who wants to get better with lots of things in your life. That might mean living cleaner. It might mean just moving and acting with purpose. So I'm glad you're here. I truly believe we're living in a world that designs us men to be dull. It's dumbing us down to some degree. And, through my own experience, I've identified about 5 ways that men really lose direction in life. And I want to talk about each of those. First one, when pressure disappears, so does your discipline. What do I mean by that? Well, most men are forged under some sort of pressure, right? Think back to your first job. Think back to your parents teaching you certain things. A certain level of pressure existed in order for you to get good at pretty much anything. Unless you just had a raw talent for something, if you're going to learn something, it took pressure, right? Ultimately. But when life gets comfortable, that pressure kind of evaporates. It goes away. And so that discipline that you need to maintain things starts to go away too. It goes away nice and slow, nice and easy. It's like a slow drip or a slow leak, right? So comfort can feel like success, or success can lead to a certain level of comfort in your life. And when that comfort comes along, you stop pushing yourself. You stop feeling the need to drive yourself to accomplish certain things. So in a way, comfort removes the very structure that took you time and effort to get good at those things in your life and to stay disciplined, right? Maybe you've got some internal thoughts that you hear yourself talking to yourself saying, I deserve a break, or I'll get back on track next week. Those kinds of thoughts, right? But here's the truth. Purpose doesn't survive in comfort. It survives on challenge. So we all know that guy who, kind of the alpha male who thrives in the public space and performing in a public space, right? But there's also the side of people, different people, that perform well just pushing themselves, right? That might be what's considered a sigma male, the kind of person who literally just uses their own code within to drive them, right? To put pressure on themselves to perform, right? That kind of person is the kind of person who's not going to let up the pedal. He's going to keep the pressure on. And if you find yourself letting off or being comfortable, that's the kind of thing you need to start to reintegrate back into your life. In other words, men lose direction when they forget how to self-generate pressure. The second way men can lose direction in life is their goals start to fade into distractions. So you think about it, men don't really lose direction in one catastrophic event. It's an all of a sudden type of moment. It slowly leaks out, right? It slowly fades away. That might be something like you spend your time scrolling a lot instead of planning. It might also mean lots of consumption without producing anything. Could be reacting, having a very reactionary type of personality versus a planning personality or a deciding type of personality. And here's the dangerous part. A distracted man rarely feels lost because he's so busy. Busy. So kind of here's your red flag. You can be busy all day and accomplish nothing that moves your life forward. Men drift when their goals stop being their mission in life and start becoming just background noise. A third way is isolation without any intention. Now, solitude can be a weapon. It can be a tool in your life for sure. Or it can be a hiding place. Many men retreat from stress or failure or uncertainty in their life, and that isolation looks like peace, but ultimately it's a distraction and it's actually withdrawal. You don't want to withdraw. Without direction, isolation will breed overthinking. It'll breed self-doubt. It'll create a lot of procrastination in your life, and it's kind of disguised as rest. And then ultimately it can lead to a lot of cynicism in your life as well. By contrast, using solitude to sharpen your tools, to sharpen your mind, that is really what solitude should be used for, because a drifting man uses that solitude to avoid the world versus address things in his life. So the question's not, are you alone? The question is what is your solitude producing? Now, the fourth way is really an emotional numbness, and it poses as control. Obviously, men pride themselves on being calm, cool, collected, right? They want to be steady. They want to be unshakable. They want to be a rock for their family, right? But the key is numbness is not calm. Numbness is disengagement. The truth is, a man can stop caring long before he stops functioning. He'll still go to work, he'll still handle his life, but without spark, without hunger. A directionless man feels nothing is exciting, nothing's urgent, and ultimately nothing is worth investing in. So this is kind of like a silent danger in a man's life when he stops wanting, and therefore he stops moving. Now, the fifth way is not as common, but I see a lot of it in guys, and that's death by 1,000 yeses. You saw that movie, Yes Man? You got to say yes to everything, right? This is really the most underrated way that a male loses purpose. It's not really laziness. It's not fear. It's not failure, but overcommitment to things that don't matter. You may think they matter, but every yes to something that doesn't matter is a no to your mission. So again, we lose direction because we're trying to keep the peace, or you're trying to avoid conflict. Maybe you're just living for convenience. And then again, you don't want to disappoint others. But here's a real leadership truth. A focused man is defined by what he refuses. So getting focused, getting back on track. How can we turn this around and go another direction, a more positive direction in your life? The first real way to do that is by building a personal code, right? This isn't tasks. This isn't goals. This is an unchangeable thing about you, something that's always going to be you regardless. This is your rule or rules that you do not break. A man with a code is a man who has direction, because the direction is really anchored in your identity, who you are, who you truly are, not built by circumstance. How you build that can take time, really looking back on the things that are most important in your life. And in order to do that, you've got to start doing some things like cutting things out of your life. And I would look for those things that drain you the most in your life and cut 3 of them right away. Give yourself some accomplishments right away. That could be a bad habit, right? Something that's just, you need to get it out of your life, right? It could be a lot of pointless obligations that you've got. It could be your biggest time sink when you should have some free time. It could be a toxic voice in your life, somebody I just need to cut that person out of my life. They're just draining me, right? Or it could be just a recurring distraction that just happens to you all the time. 3 things, pick 3 things, cut those out of your life, and use that time that you now have available to start choosing a direction, not a destination. We're not going for a destination here, but a direction. What does that mean? There's things in your life that you have to do, that you have to be a part of all the time. And when you start picking goals, you start to freeze. You're like, no, I got to pick the right goal. Yeah, stop doing that. Momentum matters more than a precision goal that you've picked up in your life. Pick a direction. Maybe you got places in your life you need to work on. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your business. Maybe it's your finances. Certain skills that you're trying to get. Maybe it's just discipline altogether, right? Could be a relationship, or could be I need to start taking a more leadership role in my life. All those are directions in your life. And you need to work on all of them to get better at all of them, right? You're trying to build, you're trying to improve yourself. And that starts with basically a required daily minimum standard that you set for yourself, right? In other words, each and every day, one bite at a time, we're going at this. What do I got to define as my minimum standard, right? Because if you lose or wait for motivation, you're going to lose. Your life changes only when you set a minimum daily standard. You can't have no gauge for what a day accomplishes for you in your life. So that's the first place you want to start. And what you'll find is this is the first place that discipline will return to your life. And you'll be able to start chipping away one by one. Stay and maintain that discipline, and you're going to have a much easier time of getting to your ultimate direction in life. Next, reestablish a mission, not a goal. This is your end point. This is the point that's way out there on the horizon that you're trying to grow for. The purpose really isn't something you find, right? Purpose is not just going to stumble across you. It's something that you have to build stone by stone, day by day, decision by decision. So like I said earlier, men don't lose their direction in one defining, dramatic moment in their life. They lose it quietly through small compromises and unguarded hours of their day. But you can reclaim your direction the same way you lost it, one choice at a time. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world distracted you. And if you're still watching, then you haven't lost your direction. You've already started taking it back. If anything of what I had to say today helps you at all, please like and subscribe and turn on that bell for notifications. Check out some of my other videos. I'm hoping to put this series together on wisdom for my kids. If you've had something in your life that's really changed your life and helped you get back on track, leave a comment down below. Help others. Together, maybe we can get lots of people back on track and improve their lives. Thanks for sticking with me, and we'll see you next time.